Hey guys, Kinsey here, and I'm back with some more pickups. And today what I have some stuff from thrift stores and some just video game stores, and then a publisher had a crazy blowout sale of their really old physical copies. So I got a lot of stuff from there too, so definitely stay tuned for that. But let's start off with some thrift store goodies. So number one is I got a copy of the Neverhood. Known in Japan as Clayman, because I also have it on PS1. I know, but it never came out for console in the US, but I have really fond memories of playing this on PC when I was little, so finding it again was pretty awesome, because now it kind of it goes for a fair amount of money. Not a lot, but more than I would want to pay, but thrift store prices, perfect. And then next thing is not a game, but... and that is a book. And this is Starless Night by R.A. Salvatore. And if you've been watching my channel for a little while, you know that I'm kind of a really big fan so far, a new fan, of the Drizzt novels for the Forgotten Realms series. And I've kind of been blowing through the books over the last year. Well, I don't read that fast, and I don't read that often, so... I just finished book 6, and lo and behold, book 7 was at Goodwill, hardback. It's pretty beautiful, even though that's not a dark elf. Whatever. I have my complaints about the cover, but I'm really excited to continue the series. Alright, and next, so this was kind of a thrift store. I think it was more of a junk store, because they still had antiques and stuff with real prices, so it wasn't all thrifting really. It was weird, but there was a box on the floor that I almost walked past that was video game crap, $5, and I was just like, video game crap, you say? But I started digging through there, and there's a bunch of cords and off-brand controllers and things like that, but there was some good stuff to be had. So I got a Wavebird. You know, pretty much the best controller. I love the GameCube controller, and having it be wireless makes it even better because GameCube cords are really short. So I was pretty excited to find this. It didn't have the receiver, but I do have a lot of those laying around, so that's kind of not a big deal for me at this point. But $5 in pretty good shape. I'm gonna have to clean it up a little bit because it was also, everything in that box was kind of gross, which kind of helped me when it came to being this stuff is really all $5, right? Perfect. So I got the Wavebird, and then I also snagged a Dreamcast controller out of there. So I actually don't have a lot of Dreamcast controllers, and I almost didn't buy it because it's not one of the fun color ones or harder to find ones. But at the same time, I was like, well, you know, I don't really see Dreamcast controllers around that much. And for $5, you know what? Yeah, I'll get it. And lastly, in that same bin, I got the pink Xbox 360 controller, and I already have this, but mine's not in the best shape because it was the one I used the most, and playing so much beautiful Katamari, I kind of ruined the stick a little bit. And I was surprised, even though this one was kind of dirty, it was in really good shape, and it had the matching pink battery back, which is great. So for $5, I could not turn this down. It was it looks almost barely used. It's just dirty. So, and you know what? I can clean it. That's totally fine. $5, perfect. All right, so those are my thrift store finds. So before we move on, we're gonna move on to a beer. If you've seen my videos before, you know that I try to squeeze in some beer reviews here and there. So I got some awesome beers that I want to try, and what better time than a pickups video. So first off is the Cinnamon Roll Imperial Ale by Southern Tier Brewing Company, and they are out of New York, I believe. Lakewood, New York. And this is an ale with natural cinnamon and caramel flavors added. 8.6% alcohol by volume, so it is definitely an Imperial. It's a little bit stronger usually. And yeah, it does say why the hell not on the back. You know what? Why the hell not? Cinnamon roll beer? Deal. First of all, this smells great. It smells like a cinnamon roll. Because it's like not just the cinnamon flavor. I swear there's also like the icing and it's there. It's probably just my imagination running away with me. But it smells like a cinnamon roll. It's crazy. All right, but does it taste like a cinnamon roll? Kind of. It definitely smells more like a cinnamon roll, but that is a full of flavor beer. It's very, I can really taste the caramel notes and definitely the cinnamon. And since it has like a nice, almost roasty, like darker ale flavor, like it's pretty good. It's definitely a sweeter dessert beer. I don't know if I'd want more than like this, but it's pretty good. It packs a punch on the flavor. But you can tell definitely that it's an Imperial. You can taste that alcohol in there. But it's pretty good. Oh god, it smells so good. It smells like a cinnamon roll. Alright, so, you know what? Cinnamon Roll Imperial Ale by Southern... Imperial Ale. Wow. Kinsey, you had like 3 sips. Cinnamon Roll Imperial Ale by Southern Tier Brewing, I think is a win. This is pretty good. But again, I'm not super into sweet beers. I don't think I'd want any more than one of these. It's pretty good. Alright, so next, we're gonna look at some stuff I got at some local game stores. So first of all, to kind of go with all those controllers I already got, I got the Fable 3 Xbox 360 controller, and I got this for super cheap, and I was so excited. And it didn't have the back, so they sold it to me for a little bit cheaper, which is great, because this one only had a black, you know, back, so it's not that hard to find. It's not like the pink controller or the red controller or something like that, where they're a little bit more difficult. So you know what? That's fine. And it did have, like, one of the bumpers is a little bit busted, but I think I can go ahead and fix that. It shouldn't be a problem. So I fixed bumpers before, but I think I paid like $5 for this. So you know what? That's fine. And if you know, I collect Xbox 360 controllers, so I have a pretty decent sized collection, and I'm just kind of, you know, going down to the last couple that I'm missing, and this was one of them! So even with its faults, for $5, I could not turn this down. So, and it's pretty sweet. It has like the like fake, you know, looking leather tooling, or maybe it's woodwork. I'd look at it as leather tooling, but it looks pretty cool, and I'm pretty excited to get this, because I'm just down to my last couple. If anyone sees that Europe-only neon green one, looking for that one. Alright, and next, so I was really sad that Futurama left Netflix recently, because Futurama is pretty much one of my favorite shows, and I watched, it was kind of my fall asleep show as well, so having it leave Netflix was like kind of a big deal. So I kind of went on a Futurama kick, and I got this little Planet Express ship. It's so cute. I just wanted something. I was grasping at straws here, but this was actually really cheap, and it's actually from, it's a Loot Crate exclusive, and I don't get Loot Crate, and this was like, I don't know, $6, something like that. And it's magnet. That's awesome. It's not all fiddly and gonna fall off. But I don't know. I just thought it was pretty sweet, and I was really sad about Futurama leaving Netflix, so this is what grief gets you. Worth it. All right, and next up, I have, this is awesome. It's a learning to type game. It's an educational game for the DS, and it came with a Nintendo wireless keyboard for your Nintendo DS, and it's so cool. It is an educational game, so you mainly just play this, you know, like, I think you play as an amateur typist. And you can advance by, you know, catching these Pokemon and being able to type their, kind of like Typing of the Dead, where you're like still like trying to type the Pokemon's name to catch it, and I don't know, it's pretty unique and just one of those items that is kind of quirky and weird, and I really like Pokemon, so I saw this come into Another Castle, and which is a local game store up here, and had to have it. There wasn't really a lot of thinking about it. I was like, whoop, that's the one. But it's just such a, you know, quirky, cool idea, and I'm not sure if there's a lot of other games that even use a DS keyboard, but it doesn't matter. This is awesome. All right, and I also got some Switch games. And I was able to get, this is The Police, and this is kind of an adventure isometric strategy game where you play as a chief of police who's forced into retirement by a corrupt mayor, and you have so many days to like make so much money, and you have to make certain decisions like whether or not to turn a blind eye to the mafia or like stuff like that. So it's kind of a really interesting idea, and I got it for, you know, it wasn't that expensive. I don't remember how much I paid, but I don't know. I've been really digging the Switch games, and especially, you know, like kind of smaller releases. I might as well grab them physical when I can. And that's the same thing that goes for The Longest 5 Minutes. This is a really interesting JRPG. It's like a, you know, pixel graphic, older style JRPG, but you start in the final battle of this game, and the main character loses his memory, and then they're just like, I don't know what to do, why are we here, I don't remember how to fight, and everyone's like, oh my god, what, you don't remember how to fight? Like, so it's basically you like reliving all these old memories from prior in the game and prior in your adventure, and why you know all these people. So I actually did start playing this already, and it's pretty cool, so we'll see where it goes, but it's definitely a very interesting concept. Next up is a PS4 game, and this is Hidden Agenda. And this is kind of a gimmicky game because it uses the Play Link for PS4. And if you don't know what that is, that's when you can hook up a smartphone or a tablet to the game, so then you can like make decisions via the tablet. And I thought that would be actually really fun for this, because this is from the makers of Until Dawn, and so it's I think you play as a homicide detective, and it's just like a mystery thriller game thing, and so you can play through it, but you know, up to how many players? 6 players can, you know, have input on the decisions made in the game. And when I played Until Dawn, I played it with, you know, 5 or 6 people, and we just did it in one playthrough and passed the controller. So I think this would be a really cool way to do it as well, because then everyone can have, you know, impact on the choices of the story. And there's like a competitive mode and a story mode that you can play it in. So you can have like some secret conspiracies going on and, you know, double crossing and things like that. And I just think that sounds like so much fun. So I don't know, we'll give it a try. I haven't like played a lot with the Play Link. I've played a couple games with it, but I don't know, I think it sounds fun, so might as well give it a shot. And lastly in this section is the physical copy of Life is Strange Before the Storm, and I loved the first season of Life is Strange. It was so much fun. I absolutely adored it. And when Before the Storm came out, I was playing other things. I just didn't have a chance to play it. So now that it's all come out as one compendium, you know, in the physical copy, I'm definitely gonna play through it, and I can't wait. So I really, really like Life is Strange. And this version, it also includes a bonus episode where I believe that's the one where you can play as Max, because this focuses on Chloe and Rachel's relationship, because this is actually a prequel to the original Life is Strange. So I'm really looking forward to playing this one. And next up we have another beer. And this one is by Firestone Walker Brewing Company, which is based out of California. And this is the Leo V Ursus. The Wookus. It's a good word. And this is a Imperial Black IPA. And so I was wondering if this was like the Imperial version of their Wookie Jack, which is their Black IPA. But Black IPAs are such an underrated, amazing style of beer. They kind of combine like the hoppiness of an IPA, but with more like dark and sometimes roastier notes of like a darker beer, which that's a marriage to some of my favorite things. So, yep, let's give it a try. Oh, but first of all, we need some stats. So, Wookus Imperial Black India Pale Ale is 8.2% alcohol by volume, And that's all we got, apparently. Beer before glory. Alright. I don't think they give us any other good stats. Nah. It's a cool can, though. Yeah. That's Leo V Ursus. It's all constellation stuff, right? Sure. Alright, but here it is. This is a dark black IPA. It looks good. Looks good. Definitely smells like an IPA. So definitely has a very like hop forward aroma. Smells good. That is hoppy. It does have like the undernotes, but of being like a darker beer where it is, you know, kind of have that malty and a little bit roasty, darker, slightly heavier flavor. So it has a little bit more body, I think, than like most regular Northwest style IPAs. But it's definitely hop forward. It's very piney, which is a good flavor, especially if you're into Northwest style IPAs. But black IPAs is such a cool, you know, style to me. I just like the marriage of, you know, IPA and dark beers. Oh, it's great. But it is very good. Also, I can taste the Imperial part of it, so it's definitely a higher alcohol content beer. Too high, apparently. Jeez. But that's very good. So, and I think Firestone Walker distributes pretty good. At least, you know, I can get it around here, and this is from California. I'm not quite sure how far their distribution spreads east, but you can find this. It's pretty good. Alright, so next up, Square Enix actually had a really big physical game kind of blowout sale. And they had, you know, some newer releases that were, you know, maybe 50% off, things like that. But some of their, you know, earlier releases like PS2, PS3, DS, PSP, that kind of stuff was like dirt cheap. It was like, you know, $3.99, $4.99. Mostly what I think I got was $3.99 for the older stuff. But I went a little crazy, but I tried not to buy too much stuff. But I ended up only spending like maybe $50 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and a half games. You'll see. So that's pretty good. And it's really all because one of them was kind of expensive. But other than that, everything I'm pretty sure was between $3.99 and $5.99. So let's take a look. So this one was $3.99, I believe. But this is Lord of Arcana on the PSP. I don't have a giant PSP collection, but I am trying to grow it. And I do like Square for the most part. So I figured, you know what? $3.99, brand new, I'll grab it. And this is like a 4-player kind of, I think it's like a 4-player like demon hunting game, monster hunting game. Sort of like Monster Hunter, but not to that caliber at all. But it's kind of the same idea. So you can have, you know, like a co-op party all hunting demons and monsters. But you know what? $3.99. Picked it up. And next was one I could not say no to for $3.99. And that is Space Bust-A-Move. I love Bust-A-Move. I play it on my Neo Geo quite often, and I just love it so much. I have it on the DS. Well, not this one. I have the other DS one that has, like, the slingshot. And I know a lot of people didn't like that, but I really did. And this one I actually didn't have. And I'm trying to kind of expand my Bust-A-Move collection because I have so many versions already that I might as well just keep going with it and get all of them. So brand new DS title, $3.99, Space Bust-A-Move. Yes, thank you. And also on the DS, I think this one was maybe one of the $5.99 titles, I believe. But Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Ring of Fates. I was really surprised I didn't have this. In fact, I'm really surprised I didn't have it. But this might have been one of the ones I had before my game collection got stolen, because it got stolen about in the DS era. So this might have been one I always assumed that I had, you know, but when I was looking on the Square Enix sale and I looked up at my DS games, I was like, I don't see it up there. So it might have been one of those. But yeah, Final Fantasy, Ring of Fates, even though the Crystal Chronicles series isn't, I mean, sometimes they're not as good as some of those standard Final Fantasy games. But then again, you have things like, you know, we'll just not get into Final Fantasy. That's a whole opinion. I got Final Fantasy Ring of Fates on the DS for cheap. So this was definitely a must grab for me. And then this was my more expensive one, but Dragon Quest Builders. I got the Day 1 edition on the PS4. I think this one was like $14.99. But I've been meaning to pick this up for the Switch, but for this price, I couldn't say no, and I'll definitely still play it on my PS4, and it's a title I've been looking at for a while now. I just didn't want to pay, you know, the launch price, so I'm really excited that I got this for what I did, even though it's not on the Switch, but all deal. And I've heard nothing but good things about Dragon Quest Builders, so I can't wait to dive in. And then, speaking of Final Fantasies, not as good past, but I think these were $3.99, so I couldn't say no. But I didn't have Lightning Returns or Final Fantasy XIII-2. And I have kind of been trying to do a complete Final Fantasy collection, so I mean, I needed them. And they were super cheap. And I've heard, like, Lightning Returns is actually alright. So you know what? I'll give it a chance. I did not like Final Fantasy XIII, but Lightning's outfit was pretty sweet. So that's a win for something, I guess. But I grabbed these guys, super cheap. And lastly is why it's a half. But I got the Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris Gold Edition. So this is the collector's edition stuff. So it comes with like a minifig and a map and an art book. And the art book's really cool because it includes some concept art. I was really excited about that. But this actually doesn't include the game. The game was a separate $3.99 purchase. And I already have this game digitally because I'm pretty sure it was like a PS Plus game on PS3 a while ago. So I'm a sucker for collector's editions, and it was like $2.99 or $3.99, so I had to grab it. Alright, and that's it for the stuff I got during the random physical copy blowout Square Enix sale, which was really exciting. And I think I got there kind of late, because it did have a lot of like newer games, but they were all sold out. So I kind of already got there when it was kind of picked over. So I didn't get the best stuff. There was a lot of stuff there I was like, ooh, I want that, ooh, I want that, ooh, I want that. And I'm like, whoop, it's sold out. So I did what I could with what was left. And I think I still made out pretty good, especially for the prices. So that's it for my winter pickups. And you can find me on the internet at KinsZilla, KinsZilla, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And thank you so much for subscribing, and thanks for watching. Cheers.